尊敬的各位来宾
Esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the 9th China and Globalization Forum.
Distinguished guests, welcome to the 9th China and International Forum hosted by the Center for China and Globalization.
有请开幕式环节主持人 CCG 联合创始人、秘书长苗律博士上台。
To chair the opening session, let's warmly welcome Dr. Mabel Miao, co-founder and Secretary General of the Center for China and Globalization.
掌声有请。
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. 大家好，
Good morning. Welcome to attend the opening ceremony of 9th China Globalization. Today we're going to engage in in-depth discussions about the challenges and opportunities faced by globalization, and we will focus on China's role and contributions within globalized context. We're looking forward to hearing your unique insights and sharing your wisdoms in this event.
In-depth discussions about the challenges and opportunities faced by globalization. Additionally, we will focus on China's role and contributions within the globalized context. We look forward to hearing your unique insights and sharing of wisdom during this event. 首先，要为
First, we're honored to have Mr. Huiyao deliver the opening speech. He is the chairman of CCG and a former counselor to the State Council.
Mr. Huiyao deliver the opening speech for our ceremony. He is the chairman of the Center for China and Globalization and a former counselor to the State Council. Dr. Wang, please.
Esteemed Minister Chen Deming and Special Convoy Mr. Xie Zhenghua and Vice President Mr. Liu Zhenming and Ambassador Hongbo,
His Excellency Ambassador George Toledo, His Excellency UN Coordinator Xi Chatterjee, Ambassadors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First, a warm welcome to everyone to attending this nice China and Globalization Forum hosted by Center for China and Globalization. This year marks the 15th years anniversary of CCG's establishment. CCG has long been committed to research and advocate inclusive globalization, making its own efforts to promote inclusive globalization. Last night, we had a grand celebration banquet attended by over 200 distinguished guests, including representatives from Chinese government, international organizations, and of course, over 20 ambassadors attended, as well as a representative from International Chamber of Commerce, multinationals, and also representative from both domestic and international all walks of lives in China. So this year's China and Globalization Forum will focus on critical and present topics such as climate change, the global economic outlook, major power relations, and more subjects that are related to the challenging time of our world. Given the current uncertainties, we aim to gather perspectives, recommendations, and of course, collective efforts in solving and also tackling those urgent issues. So the forum consists of 5 roundtables today, a very important one, of course. There are two ambassador roundtables, respectively. The first is to discuss China, US, EU, and global climate dialogue for a sustainable 21st century. And also second roundtable, the China-Europe cooperation in uncertain times, challenges and prospects and opportunities. And also we're going to have a lunch, and after lunch we'll have a trade and economic roundtable focused on China and the sustainable global economy. Where and also now. The afternoon will feature business roundtable discussion, reset, renew, reinvest the private sector for economic rebound. And also, finally, there is also a Belt and Road roundtable because this year marks the 10th anniversary of Belt and Road Initiative. So the Belt and Road roundtable will theme the multi-stakeholder engagement for global development. What will be next decade bring in? Of course, at the beginning, we're also going to have former Minister of Commerce, Chen Demin, and of course, he's also our honorary chair of the Center for China and Globalization. He's going to give an opening remark because he just come back from Singapore, where he just recently attended a big meeting there. So, it's very importantly, we will get at this ambassador roundtables, we will get into the Sino-US-EU and global climate dialogues to a sustainable goals for the 21st century. Climate change is a challenge for all humanity, require global cooperation, and CCG will actively participate to promote cooperation. We'll have the honor to hear important speeches from China's Special Envoy for Climate Change, Minister Xie Zhenghua, also from a US Ambassador to China, His Excellency Nick Burns, and also EU Ambassador to China, George Toledo Abrinina, and also from China's former Deputy Minister Liu Zhenmin, of course also the UN coordinator in China, His Excellency Sid Chatterjee, and also we have quite a few ambassadors we invited to give jointly to discuss this very important, highly watched subject, where I think that the UN currently also holding a summit that also involve this urgent issue. So, second, during this period of global turbulence, China-Europe cooperation faces both risks and prospects. We will explore how to achieve stability and development in cooperation during this uncertain time. We hear insights from our European ambassadors. At Global Economic and Trade Roundtable, we will contemplate China's sustainable development in a global economy, seeking new paths for growth to contribute to the global prosperity. And many invited speakers will share their views. The Business Roundtable, which is very important because we are having this economic slowdown in the world and also impact in China, and also how we can boost foreign companies' operation in China, and also trying to revitalize the private sectors and facing the business community for the opportunities and challenges. Of course, finally, the Belt and Road Roundtable will look forward to the next decade, explore how new ideas, new proposals, and of course, new ideas can be generated for this global development initiative. So each roundtable will have sufficient time, and also we'll have some discussions around that. So ladies and gentlemen, distinguished ambassadors and esteemed experts, so in the backdrop of today's rapidly changing global landscape, and we mark the 10th anniversary also of the Belt and Road Initiative, the significance of China, that the CCG holding this annual forum will be a good, timely contribute to the dialogues, to the exchanges, to our contemporary China situation, and also, of course, for the world development. So it is a testimony to our commitment to foster international cooperation and address challenges and opportunities that define our era. So we find ourselves at a pivotal moment in history where the dynamic of international relations, trade, cooperation are evolving at an unprecedented pace. So the world is interconnected through the technology, globalization, and it's heavily intertwined. So we have to really work together. It is time that with the forces of globalization, innovation, and sustainability are shaping the countries of our global society. So as we gather here today, we aim to foster dialogue and collaboration among the nations, industries, and thought leaders. The China and Globalization Forum, which has already run into its 9th forum since 2014, has been a platform for exchange ideas, share insights, and also making recommendations towards a more interconnected, inclusive, and prosperous future. So this forum will transcend geographic boundaries, bring together diverse participants and perspectives and expertise from around the world. It is a discussing platform for great ideas and also the innovation that we are hoping to have achieved. By drawing this collective wisdom and from the diplomats, academic, government officials, and we hope to build some consensus for the future cooperation. So this forum presents an opportunity for us to reflect on the progress we made over the past year and also for the future that we are going to continue to looking forward. And we have to see what lessons can be learned and what are the challenges facing us ahead. So in this endeavor, it is crucial that we maintain a spirit of openness and inclusivity. We must strive to ensure that the benefits of globalization are shared equally among nations, and of course, that the voice of all stakeholders are heard. Inclusivity is not just a matter of fairness, it is a pragmatic imperative. By harnessing the diverse ideas, perspectives of our global countries, we can unlock innovation and solutions that would be impossible in isolation. So to conclude, the China and Globalization Forum is more than just a gathering in mind, but it is also a platform to our collective determination to shape for the better future. Together, let us seize this moment to work hand in hand, transcending national boundary and create a better tomorrow for all of us. As we embark on this journey of new cooperation for the challenging future, we do hope that today's meeting will present a great exchange of ideas, finding solutions, making recommendations, and build up the confidence and that we can share the future for the mankind. So we're going to expect an excellent discussion today, and once again want to thank you all very much for coming to this forum, and we hope to hear your insights and ideas, and I also appreciate all the great delegates and participants attending today. We look forward to your discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, President Wang, for your kind introduction and opening remark. Next, we will hear from His Excellency Mr. Chen Deming, who serves as the Honorary Chairman of the Center for China and Globalization, as well as the Honorary President of the China Association of Enterprises with Foreign Investment. Also, he is the former Minister of Commerce in China. In today's speech, Mr. Chen will share his profound insights on globalization. international trade, investment, and international cooperation. 下面我们隆重的要邀请陈德明先生。陈德明先生是全球化智库的名誉主席，同时也是中国外商投资协会的名誉会长、商务部原部长。我们热烈的欢迎陈部长，有请。
Your Excellency, Ambassadors, I think everyone living in China a long time, maybe you can speak Chinese. So next time I will speak Chinese. Yesterday I just come back from Singapore to take the international forum. At that I meet some old friends such as Poscolami, Robert Zolik, Tim Gettner, and so on. 尊敬的谢大
Honorable Ambassador Xie and Special Envoy Wu, Vice Minister Liu Zhenming. I just came back from Singapore, where I participated in a discussion of global think tanks. And that coincides with what we are discussing today. So first of all, I'd like to thank CCG colleagues for writing a speech for me. It's well written, but I will not be reading from the speech. But I would like to share with you the insights that has been generated in Singapore. So the first, there were 3 topics there. The first one is about globalization, whether it is deglobalization or reglobalization. I shared my thoughts there, and in general, I feel that we would agree that we are in an age of consolidation, and there is still risk of fragmentation. But so long as trade benefits all parties, so long as capital continues to pursue profits, the process of globalization will not stop. A most important part of the discussion was competition between China and US, whether it will lead to confrontation, because the US kept raising new slogans. They do not mention decoupling. Instead, they replace it with de-risking and reducing dependence. For example, the mentioning of friendshoring and small yard high fences that were raised by a few ministers and secretaries that recently paid a visit to China. This risks dividing the world into smaller camps. But so long as China continues multilateralism, so long as China continues to pay attention and pay interest to the interest of all parties in the world, with our efforts after some time of consolidation, globalization is going to usher in a new era. Especially, we need to link globalization with climate change and other global issues. So there is possibility and opportunity for the formation of new industrial chains and supply chains, and we should see opportunities in this risk. The second topic for discussion was China's economy, whether it was heading for better or whether it is in decline. We agreed that there is a downward pressure, and the pressure was great in some areas, but we agreed that the recovery will be achieved in a couple of years' time, though the timeline will be stretched. I used to work in coastal areas, so they were economically developed areas. For example, at the mouth of the Yangtze River, there were three forces. There was the Yangtze River. There was typhoon. All of these events, natural events, would coincide and create a rather huge natural disaster. But so long as these natural events will pass, and once they pass, it will be sunny days again. So this is much like the situation that Chinese economy is in now. We have economic downturn. We are facing pressure and sanctions posed by the U.S. For example, the 301 tariff on more than $360 billion worth of goods. And the U.S. sanctions more than 1,300 enterprises, of which 600 came from the Department of Commerce, and 400 come from the Treasury, and there are bound to be more. And the third is the problems, the inherent problems in China's economy, sluggish consumption and negative growth in trade, the impending recovery of the real estate sector, and then debt ratio is climbing. So the problems, the crisis in the global arena, the China-U.S. Problems, and also China's own problems. These three forces are now converging, but we are hoping that China's economy would bottom out in the third or the fourth quarter of this year and start to rebound next year. Since July this year, according to my calculation, there have been more than 20 policies and documents aiming to redress the economy, issued by State Council or State Council ministries. Of course, the detailed plans are yet to be seen, but we should see that these documents have a positive effect on increasing confidence of households and enterprises. The third question we discussed was that whether it is possible to use more cooperation to mitigate the risks of confrontation. I believe that the ambassadors and Chinese friends present today are aware that there have been multiple visits by senior U.S. officials, and we have kept contact and dialogue on multiple occasions. So the general picture is good, but we are seeing the pan-securitization of issues across the world. There's no clear definition of many issues, so these are going to create some problems. In dialogue, China-US dialogue, China has taken positive measures, for example, on multilateral fronts. We have been coordinating rather well, like the MC12 on fishery subsidies, on the IP for vaccines. China, those stating that it is still a developing country, nevertheless waived these rates. And also, Ambassador Xie Zhenhua kept in good touch with Ambassador Kerry. We are also expecting to see more cooperation in aeronautics and in medicine, etc. The WTO recently passed an agreement on investment facilitation. More than 110 countries members participated, including in the EU, Japan, and Canada and Korea. But it was sad that the U.S. has not yet joined this agreement. We are still working on it because the investment nowadays in the world is governed by more than 3,600 different agreements. If we can have one single consolidated agreement that every party adheres to, that I'm sure that it will be springtime for all of us. Secretary Gina Raimondo visited China recently, having established a new mechanism with the Ministry of Commerce of China. So we are.
And we're looking forward to have meetings with President Biden, although we are going to approach the years of election in the United States. But still, we believe that we have paved the way for the communications, and we have the conditions to further enhance our relations. It is our high expectation that the sanction is something that doesn't work so well, and we have to join our hands together to make better of our civilizations and also do better about our own systems. And then we can, based on these conditions, to communicate well with each other. And this is a reversible trend. And that is some highlights and some viewpoints that I summarized from the Singapore meeting for reference and for inspiration. Thank you.
非常感谢陈德明。
Thank you, Mr. Chen, and many thanks to all of the guests for your support to the opening ceremony, and many thanks to the friends attending this opening ceremony. So let's kick off this forum that we are expecting jointly.
Guest support for our event. Let us embark on this highly appreciated forum together, exploring the future of globalization and contributing our efforts towards the peace and the prosperity of China and the world. Thank you.